With us on set is Elysia Stobbe, and she's an author, and what she does is she helps people not get ripped off, and that means all of us. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Good. Now, you work with mortgages. Tell us about your book.
The book is called How to Get Approved for the Best Mortgage Without Sticking a Fork in Your Eye.
And how did you come up with that concept?
I've been in the mortgage industry for about 13 years, and I found even after the Dodd-Frank Act, which was a lot of new regulation and legislation and a lot of paperwork, that people were still sometimes not getting the best product and therefore spending more money than they had to, having a higher monthly payment than they had to. And so I thought, how can I help people? How can I empower a consumer to make the best decision for the largest financial purchase of their life?
So that was basically the situation. The situation was you were watching people get ripped off all the time, right? And we talk about a SOAR story, which is situation, objective, action, and result, right? So after you saw the situation, what did you end up doing?
I took 2 years, pretty much for the last year, nights and weekends. I took just 2 weekends off and one holiday, and that was it. But really, nights and weekends, I would work on the book. I thought, how can I best empower people and educate them? And there's all sorts of different information, everything from what to look for to qualify for a mortgage, to how to pick a realtor, how to pick a home inspector, what the different types of insurance are, and also there's some information on credit improvement and cleanup as well.
And so the action was, is you put pen to paper? Or did you like type it in?
I typed.
Okay.
I typed, and then I retyped and typed again and retyped and typed again, and thought, am I speaking so people will understand this? Because that's one of my challenges. I tend to speak in mortgagese, which most people just, their eyes gloss over. So I really thought, let me make this approachable and easy for people to read and understand, because also people are intimidated. A lot of people think they can't buy a home, or they get intimidated if they go to the bank, when it's really not that difficult if you know the steps, just like anything else. People actually typically research a car more than they do a lender or the mortgage product that's right for them, and it's so important for the biggest purchase.
And the results are astounding, because even yesterday you shared with me an Instagram of somebody that got your book, and she's so excited because she's going to be able to buy her first house. What other response have you had to your book?
We've been very fortunate. We have all 5-star reviews right now on Amazon, and people just, everybody from people who have read the book to people in the industry, so people who are first-time home buyers who have read it. It's also good for anybody who hasn't purchased since 2008, the whole mortgage debacle there. So, but we're getting great reviews as far as people saying this is actionable, I can use it, it makes it very simple for me to understand, and that's the biggest compliment I could get, because I want to help people.
So now we're going to look at Chapter 5, because Chapter 5, for me, is like the crust of the book. Okay, so go ahead. What do we have in Chapter 5?
So Chapter 5 is 4 keys to qualifying for a mortgage.
Okay.
The number 1 is credit.
Okay.
Number 2 is income and debt-to-income ratio. Number 3 is assets and down payment. And the 4th is property.
Okay.
So 1 is credit. Any lender is going to look at your credit. There's actually three credit scores that get pulled. They take the middle score. But it's often what makes up that credit that's just as important as the actual score itself. So,
and in the book, you help tell people what they need to do. So if they don't have a car loan, they need to maybe get one, or things like that.
And pay on time. Don't take out more debt than you can afford. Always pay on time, and don't pay, basically it's kind of simple. Don't live beyond your means, because your credit score will reflect that. The second one is income and debt-to-income ratio. So any lender is going to ask you for pay stubs, income tax statements, and they're going to analyze your credit. And actually, it's very important to give that information instead of just tell it, because a lot of times an underwriter will analyze that information very differently than you and I, or I would say it. When it comes to adjusted gross income and gross income, it's a couple different things there.
Now, do they still have a rule of thumb that it should be like 1/4 of what you bring home each month? Is that still true?
It's basic. That's for the actual mortgage payment itself, and then they'll also look at the rest of your debt responsibility, so your full debt load, and they'll look at both those two numbers. Actually, it's a great question, because the mortgage payment, that 25% ballpark, is actually the front end debt-to-income ratio, and then there's a back end, not to get too technical.
Okay.
Yes. The third one is assets and down payment. So they're going to look at how much money you have available to actually put down on the house for a down payment, and then also closing costs and reserves are important. If, God forbid, somebody buys a house and then, breaks their leg and can't work tomorrow, how is that mortgage payment going to be covered? And then the 4th is property. So property type is very important. A lot of people don't realize that lenders look at a single-family home differently than a duplex or a condominium or a townhouse.
Or even a two-family home, because maybe the two-family home might actually produce additional income.
Yes.
Right?
Great
So
investment.
I thought this was fabulous. I thought your book was really helpful because I've been a renter, I've owned homes, I've been everywhere. I've had moments of great wealth, I've had moments of not great wealth. So I thought that this was great because it does take the fear out of it for people and it helps them get back on their feet again. So it's a fantastic book. And you've always been a winner. Tell us, I want to just talk about your junior Olympic days.
So I'm actually a gold medalist. So I have a gold medal in the Junior Olympics in Judo, and I'm also an AAU state champion as well. So it was fun. I've always liked playing and having fun and enjoying being around people. And so when I was 8, I actually won the gold medal.
Yeah, congratulations for that. And recently you spoke at Harvard. Tell us about that.
I did. It was a great experience. It was Secrets of Success, and I spoke on a panel with 3 other women, and we talked about just there's all sorts of, everybody had a different story, very different story. And it was so nice to hear other people's stories and be able to share that with other women and empower them to live the life of their dreams. And I think it all starts with being comfortable and happy with who you are, and then just letting that radiate out and how you can serve others. And if you can do that on a daily basis like you do, and just share the joy and help make people happy and live the fullest life they can to their dreams, I just think to me, that's what life's about.
Yeah, me too. And that's why I do the show. You're right. I like to be a cheerleader for brands and people and causes, and I sincerely want to befriend them, and I want to shine the light on them, and I'm like, oh yeah, we can do it. It's all about hope. Tell me about Can I?
So Can I stands for constant and never-ending improvement, and I believe if you're not growing, then you're dying. So I'm always trying to learn something new, empower people, do what I can to contribute to society on a large scale with the book, and then also on a small scale in my neighborhood, in my community, in the company. So there's all sorts of different things that you can do to help that. But I think if you're always growing and learning, there's so many, the age that we live in is phenomenal. There's so many things you can learn on everything from technology to health and how you can help other people. And if you can touch somebody and impact their life and their world in a positive way, to me that's what lights me up. Just like that Instagram.
Yes, and we're talking about millions of dollars, like over $250 million of business has been transacted in closings. You know your stuff. You really know your stuff. So I was excited to talk to you on the phone conversations that we had, and I know that you'd be willing to do speaking engagements. So
yes.
How could somebody reach out to you? How could they find you?
The email address is bestmortgagebook@gmail.com, or I have a blog. I write a blog on mortgage tips, and that's bestmortgagebook.blogspot.com, and then also they can find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook.
And you debunk a lot of myths in your book too, which is helpful. So it's straightforward. It is what it is. So
I'm a straight shooter.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stay tuned for more on Live It Up. We've been visiting with Elysia Stobbe, and she really is the expert on mortgages.